coming home. It's coming home. It's coming. Football's coming home. England are through to the next round of the European Championships, but this isn't a football podcast. This is a wrestling podcast. To be specific, you are watching the Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and today is Sunday Funday, and boy, oh boy, do we have a fun show for you. And let's kick things off by introducing the co-host, Clark Taylor. How are you, Clark?
I am stoked to be here. As always, been up since bright and early. We filmed an incredible episode of Sunday Night Spotlight. You're going to want to check that out. And the day is young. We got Forbidden Door coming up. We got this right now, the most important draft. This is a day for pro wrestling. And you know, people complain about putting in 16-hour days. Not one when it's like this. It doesn't get any better. Where are you at, Canada, though?
Yeah,
we'll discuss that later.
We do have, we'll get into that in just a second, but we do have a behind-the-scenes controversy here at Wrestling Republic this minute as we're talking. But before we get onto that, well, actually, firstly, shout out to Timothy underscore Mfal, I'm so sorry, I'm awful with names. Mfal Allo on Instagram, who's saying that he loves this podcast. Thank you so much, Timothy. We really appreciate it. We have Bobby Petito saying that Dijak will be wrestling in Rev Pro in the UK against Michael Oku. That would be sick. And with David Marge in the chat as well. And Shard, welcome to the show, guys. But also joining us today, we have Anthony, the head of opinions. How are you, Anthony?
Oh, I love doing these types of shows. I'm happy to be here. Obviously, you know, there's a pay dispute with our Canadian representative. Obviously, there was an argument. Clark insisted that American dollars are more than Canadian dollars, and Coby disagreed, and that's why he's not.
That's just economics.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you did what you could.
It's just basic economics, isn't it? But yeah, like Anthony just referenced, Coby was meant to be on this show today, and we've not heard from him. And this is very uncharacteristic of Coby, so we can only presume there's a Wi-Fi outage or something like that, right? I'm certain it genuinely is not Coby's fault that he's not here. But because of that, until he does arrive, we're going to be doing his picks for him. But let me explain what we are doing today for Sunday Funday. We are drafting all the Money in the Bank cash-ins, right? So the first pick will be the best. The last pick will be the worst out of the available 24 options. We have 6 picks each, 24 total. Like I said, there's meant to be 4 of us, so we'll be picking Coby's for the first round. But I listen, we might as well start it off.
Very fair.
So we'll be very, very responsible. Keep it, very unbiased. All of that.
Not petty at all.
My first pick of this draft, right? Listen, this might be controversial to a few people, but I reckon a lot of people, especially people my age, will agree with me. I think the best Money in the Bank cash-in of all time was Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 31. I mean, this guy cashed in the main event of WrestleMania. Nobody had done that before. He lost to Randy Orton earlier in the night. We thought, okay, that's him done until after WrestleMania. But no, he cashed in on the main event and won the heist of the century, as they called it. It was an all-time moment and my favorite Money in the Bank cash-in. But pick number 2 goes to Anthony. Who are you picking?
Okay, you can't do a cash-in unless you have the very first cash-in, and that was Edge, cashing in the Money in the Bank contract and setting the template for what cash-ins are. That, the full advantage of you can cash in at any time. That template was started with Edge in 2005.
Oh, that certainly was. I mean, when a lot of people think of the Money in the Bank briefcase, Edge is the one they think of. Edge, is that guy. Like you said, the first one, he also won it twice, so I'm sure we'll get into his second pick later on in this show. But, Clark, you do have the third pick. Who are you taking?
So you stole my pick in Edge. So I'm taking your next logical one. and it may not be the coolest cash in on paper as far as execution, other than actually it might be. The first time he said, show up here, I'll meet you there. No surprises involved. Rob Van Dam is my first pick off the board. ECW One Night Stand 2 defeats John Cena to win the world title. I will take RVD.
That was actually the third one on my list. Rollins was number 1.
Fair.
It's certainly a very, very good.
Mel Kiper Jr. has it down.
We have Bobby Petito saying that he is picking Rob Van Dam, while Shard is picking Carmella as his first one. That is certainly a wild shout. I mean, we now have Coby's pick. Coby is still not sure.
Can I do that?
Go for it, Anthony.
Okay,
Coby.
With Coby's number 1 draft pick, he is picking Austin Theory, who without a doubt has the greatest cash in of all times. I mean,
awesome pick, Coby.
I mean, I'm stunned the three of us did not take that first.
That is incredible. Yes, no, it's a really well thought out pick, Coby, in the first round off the board. Theory, I love it. Yeah, absolutely, heck of a pick by Coby. Can I announce his next pick?
You got it.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
We're really going.
With Coby's second pick, he'll select Nikki Ash. ASH.
That's not that bad a one.
It's not that bad, but he needs a superhero on his team, and we got to dip into the women's division. I think it's only fair as long as we can agree on it voting-wise. I don't want to totally bury him, but we do need to get into the women's division, and Coby needs a superhero to pick this team up after the slow start. I think it makes the most sense.
He's
she was 16th on my list, but it's not that bad.
He's groundbreaking because he picked the guy that cashed in not for the world title and the first woman on this list. He really is groundbreaking.
Yeah, Coby breaking glass ceilings. Actually, that's what I was thinking.
Yes.
Mark 76 with I thought you were going to go with Strowman. I strongly considered it, and I was like, I got to be cool. We got to get.
Coby still has 4 more picks.
Hostile takeover of the Canadian tech guy who says so. But Bobby Petito is taking Alexa Bliss as his second round pick. But Clark, who are you taking?
Oh man, this is a tough one. I am gonna go. You know what? Give me Dolph. Give me Nick Nemeth. Give me Dolph Ziggler. And that was an audible pick. And I apologize. I should have given a much, much better intro for a guy that I have a ton of respect for. This is an underrated cash in. You don't often get somebody that's been around for so long have a pop like that in a moment like that. That's unforgettable. And I'm going to give him his flowers right now. I'll take Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth with my second round pick.
An excellent pick, no doubt about it. I remember that was one of the first ones that I saw as a kid. And, I mean, it really did elevate Dolph into a main event star, even if it was just for a little bit. It was unexpected and certainly a great cash-in. But, Anthony, who are you taking for your second round pick?
I am taking the 2008 CM Punk cash-in when he got the world title. So, I mean, Punk obviously is an established name in this business, but that was one of his first world titles, if you're not counting the ECW one during his WWE run. His first cash in, if I'm remembering correctly, was against Edge, who set the template for cash ins. I believe in 08. I'm pretty sure that's, unless I'm mixing the two of them up, I believe it was Edge, the first one.
You were right. Edge was the first one. The second one was Jeff Hardy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, excellent pick, no doubt about it, Anthony. I mean, he did have 2 really great cash-ins, CM Punk, no doubt about it. And there is a big debate about which one is better. Was it the 08 or 09? And, I mean, according to this draft, well, it's 08. But now it is time for my pick. And I'm going to be honest, right? Before the show, we did a spinner wheel to decide who would, the order of the picks, basically. And I got first, and I said that I wish I had second, because I think I could get the 2 people who I wanted. It's turned out I'm getting those 2 people anyway. I don't think I would have gotten them both if Coby was here. But the first one I'm going to go for, right, is a cash-in which is so close to my heart. Because it was a cash-in which happened just after I started Wrestling Republic, and I remember the goosebumps, the literal goosebumps, which I had on my arm when this cash-in happened. And it was just after Seth Rollins won back the WWE Championship off Roman Reigns. Just seconds later, his other Shield or ex-Shield brother, Dean Ambrose, cashes in Money in the Bank the same night that he won it and won the WWE Championship. Ultimately, the reign didn't go as well as we hoped it did, but the moment was exceptional. So Dean Ambrose, he goes down as my second pick in the second round. But
I like it.
you like it? Yeah, I mean, honestly,
pick.
it is. It's a pick which is close to my heart, no doubt about it.
High on my list.
Moving to the next one, right? Round one, I took WrestleMania main eventer. He cashed in the main event of WrestleMania, Seth Rollins. Well, this guy did not cash in the main event of WrestleMania, but he did cash in during a World Championship match at WrestleMania, and that is Damian Priest. It's this year, right? I mean, at the end of the day, whenever cash-in happens at WrestleMania, it's unexpected and it's a major moment. So he gets my pick for the third round, the first pick of the third round. But Anthony, I want to know who you have in the third as your third pick.
I got Big E. Big E, who won it in 2021. An incredibly deserving guy to finally get that world title. Unfortunately, it looks like it probably was going to be the only one of his career due to obviously his neck injury. And, you know, it was awesome to see it becoming the second member of New Day to hold the world title. Obviously, it did not end on the best of terms. Obviously, the same guy beat both Kofi and Big E, which is kind of wild when you think about it. But yeah, I got to go Big E. Well deserved.
Absolutely. No, he was a really, really solid cash in, and it was a moment as well, which elevated him into that main event seat. It made him, a WWE, well, it made him obviously a WWE champion, but a lot of people didn't think that he was going to get to that point, and for him to finally get that, I mean, it was so special. It
Absolutely.
really was.
You need me to pick for Cobb?
Pick for Coby? I mean, you need to pick for yourself first, Clark.
You're getting ahead of yourself. I forgot about the order. Okay, I apologize. This is actually one that I was most excited about, but I've got
in your pick.
You know, I'm just looking, right? I'm taking notes here. This is all important to me. This pick is maybe my favorite one I've done yet because it's 2007. This is a briefcase that originally belonged to Mr. Kennedy. Did not cash it in, but guess who did? Edge on The Undertaker live on SmackDown. I will take Edge absolutely with my next pick from 07. So that's where I'm going.
That's an excellent one. I mean, like you said, I think he was the first one, right, to cash it in after he obviously didn't win the actual Money in the Bank match, but he won it off the Money in the Bank competitor. He was the first. Am I right to say that?
It's only two of them. Yeah, Otis and Miz was the other one.
Perfect. I mean, that is a great pick, no doubt about it, but he's back, and he's back right in time for his pick.
The cat dragged in. He was 1 minute away from getting Sandow.
But by the way, Ben, do you want to reiterate Coby his first couple picks because obviously he missed it?
Yeah.
Coby, I'm not sure if you've seen who you got in the first two picks of the draft, but so far your lineup's looking really strong.
Groundbreaking.
Anthony Galenzoski picked Austin Theory, and Coby Taylor picked Nikki A.S.H. So those are the two picks you have so far. But Coby, firstly, welcome to the show. How are you? And who are you taking as your third pick?
Okay, let's see what took me so long for my sleep schedule that's screwed up. Who has been picked?
Wait a second, you overslept.
You overslept? No excuse. I've been up since 4.
All right, then Sandow gets picked.
We interviewed Jocelyn Navarro this morning.
Nick, so what's been picked?
Oh, God.
Okay, well, you know what? We're almost halfway. I might as well do a repeat.
Let's get a recap. All right.
So I firstly took Seth Rollins. Anthony took Edge. Edge's first one. Clark took Rob Van Dam. Kobe took Austin Theory. And then Nikki ASH. Clark took Dolph Ziggler. Anthony took the first Punk 2008. I took Dean Ambrose. Then I took Damian Priest. Anthony took Big E. And Clark took Edge's second one when he, of course, won the briefcase against Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy. And cast it in on The Undertaker.
Canada.
But who are you going to take, Kobe, as your third pick?
Okay, let's do some repair. Let's do some repair. Personally, my favorite cash-in of all time for the women's division is Alexa Bliss's, and she was the first one to cash in the first night, of course, for Women's Money in the Bank. She cashed in on a rather dull Nia Jax championship reign that was just like, oh, we're just gonna put Ronda Rousey in because she's the new flavor of the month. Of course, she stole the spotlight. Those pops are for her winning the championship, winning the briefcase in that same night. I do think there's only one other cash-in that can maybe compete with Alexa's, but I do think Alexa Bliss has the best women's cash-in. So I will take that one.
Wow, very underrated one. I will say that, an extremely underrated pick. A great pick, Kobe. You've come back in with a bang. Yeah, I mean, March76 is saying, shocker, Kobe's favorite cash-in was Alexa.
Hey, favorite women's cash-in. The rest of them were like, oh, we're going to do the same night again with Bailey. And we're going to do the same night again with, the same night with Liv. And then Nikki Ash was the next night. And there was
that was your second pick.
Hey. Yeah. Whoa. Defend your team. Whoa. You don't want to have infighting amongst your squad, Kobe. You have Nikki Ash.
I get it.
She's on your roster.
There's a little bit of disagreement in the comments because Shard
locker
thinks it
room
was
issue.
Carmella. And Chris thinks Bailey was the best one, of course.
I think that's the most Bailey's. It's the most forgettable one, to be fair.
Oh, hot take, certainly.
Guess he won't be picking her.
Only so does.
But we've got a comment here from Shard I've got to read out. He's saying, I've been coughing all day, man, because I'm a sicko, because it's Forbidden Door. All the sickos are hyped for the 14-match card. I mean,
it's a marathon. It's not the card. It's the marathon.
I'm excited for some of it. I'm terrified for the length about it. But Soul's clearly hyped. But now let's move on.
It'll be a sleep
Actually, Kobe, we're moving right back on to you because it's your pick again. 4th round. Who are you taking?
And this is the one I don't think has been said because I'm trying to remember.
Mm-hmm.
But I think SummerSlam 2013 with Daniel Bryan winning the WWE Championship from John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Triple H gives him the pedigree, and we get Randy Orton cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase. It's a start of a meteoric rise. We know WWE really didn't want Daniel Bryan to be that top guy, and this was that show, or this was that showing. They gave it to them, and they took it right back. Randy Orton gets that win. The rivalry after it wasn't that good, but and you saw it in December of that year when it was John Cena versus Randy Orton. And then there was the Yes chants, and everyone wanted Daniel Bryan. Then the Yes movement. Then I can't say enough good things about Daniel Bryan's rise within those 9 months. And I think this is essentially what started it, because this is what stole that championship from Daniel Bryan. And I gotta go with Randy Orton in this case.
It is true.
It's
It had a domino effect. It truly did. This cash in, I know at the time a lot of people really complained about it, but you are completely right, Kobe. Ultimately, this led to the fans getting behind him even more. It led to the Yes movement, and it led to that WrestleMania 30 main event down the line. The amount of storytelling was extremely good, but Clark, I want to find who you're taking in the 4th round.
We unfortunately halfway gave it away a little bit earlier, but give me Mella. Give me Carmella. It's an awesome one. The inaugural Women's Money in the Bank cash in. I believe, held the briefcase for upwards of like nearly a year, almost 280 days. Like started to cut it the closest of any of the cash-ins on the women's side, and obviously a huge moment and a big pop, and something that I always look upon fondly, and a great addition to the squad.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember her and James Ellsworth with this briefcase.
Oh.
It was hilarious.
You mean Chince McMahon? Whoops.
It was such a funny storyline. It was SmackDown Live. That was prime SmackDown Live. Shard is a huge Carmella fan. I think he's made that clear in the comments, and I have to agree. It was brilliant. It was a lot of fun. But talking about things which are brilliant and a lot of fun, guys, I've got to talk to you about Next Level. If you guys don't know who Next Level are, let me tell you a little bit about them. They basically got all our links from all our social medias and they put it all in one place, one easy to access place. And that one easy to access place is nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms linked all in one place. Once again, nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms linked all in one place. But the best part about this, and this seriously is good, is that, I mean, they now have an app, right? And not just an app for Next Level, but an app specially for wrestling content on Next Level. All you need to do is download the Next Level app, and within that, you can then download the wrestling app, the wrestling community app that they have. It's a thriving wrestling community on there, and it's a lot of fun. A lot like Money in the Bank is a lot of fun. But next up, Anthony, I'm going to have to ask you for your pick. Your pick in the 4th round.
Okay, I am going to pick the most intimidating person that has ever held the Money in the Bank, and that would be 2019's winner, Brock Lesnar, who wasn't even supposed to be in the damn thing. And just boombox Brock. I mean, you know, it's you have to. How do you not go the Beast?
I'm going to be honest, Anthony. I hated that. I hated when he won that Money in the Bank thing. I loved the entire boomboxing. I did love that, but I hated the cash-in too. It was hot potato, him and Rollins.
It's the first time you've seen personality out of Brock, and obviously it was a precursor to Farmer Brock that we would eventually get.
Brock on the farm.
See, I mean, I don't know if you guys have this in America, but here in the UK, we have something called Jeremy Clarkson's Farm, or Clarkson's Farm it's called, right? And it's Jeremy Clarkson, who's one of the presenters from Top Gear. They all got fired from Top Gear because of reasons. And he then got his own... he then got his own show.
Some of them were probably bad.
I think it was all. I think it was very controversial, but in the end, he got his own show. So I think
definitely fired though.
Yeah,
we can agree on they got fired.
Yeah, I think punch was thrown or something. But
either way,
he did get his own show in the end of it, right? And the other guys all left the network with him as well because they were so angry about him being fired. But he got his own show, and that show was called Clarkson's Farm, right? And it became such a big hit because everyone was like, "This guy owning a farm? What's this?" I now want to see Brock Lesnar's farm.
It'd be the greatest.
You think he's going to want F5 cows? Is that what you think you're going to witness?
He's got all kinds of acres. I mean, honestly, that's basically what Stone Cold's show is right now with what he's doing with the Broken Skull match. It's basically the same concept. I mean,
I don't think Brock has cats.
Let's pitch it. We need to talk to a network, see if we can get some middleman cash out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it on Wrestling Republic. Eh?
Sorry, Brock. If you heard that, I meant that positively.
Coby, as the fellow Canadian, can't you talk to him? He lives in your area. You be the representative.
Yeah. I have to find him.
Give him a call, Cobe.
Find him.
That would explain why Coby was missing.
You guys still have the yellow pages in Canada, right, Cobe? Just look him up.
You still got a phone.
Helping Lesnar do the farm before.
You guys for sure have phone books in Canada. I'm not buying it if you say you don't. It's just a list of numbers.
But Let's now move on, right? Because it's time for my next pick. And for my next pick, I'm actually going to take what, in my opinion, was the better of the two CM Punk cash-ins. And that was CM Punk 2009 when he cashed in on Jeff Hardy. I mean, this was actually the first cash-in I saw as a kid. The Punk-Hardy feud. I loved it. I hated, I despised CM Punk as a kid. And that shows how great of a heel he was, because at the same time, while I despised him, I couldn't help but want to watch him. So easy pick for me. CM Punk 09. Then, moving on to my next pick, the first pick of round 5. This is when it does get a little bit difficult, but I am going to go into the women's division, right? And I'm going to go for a name of somebody who, it's another recent one, but this one is Io Sky from 2023. She cashed in on Bianca Belair, and it was one of those cash-ins where it was not necessarily a huge shock, but it was a cash-in which made sense. Bianca Belair just competed in a match where we all thought she was legitimately injured, right? She went out of that match, she then came back into that match. It was all very confusing. We thought, is this a work? Is it a shoot? But ultimately, at the end of the match, Bianca Belair was hurt. Her knee was hurt, and Io Sky cashed in and took advantage. It made a lot of sense, and it turned Io into a main event star. Whereas before, she kind of just seemed like backup to Bayley on the main roster. So while maybe it's not one of the most memorable cash-ins, I think it made a lot of sense and did a lot of good. But, Anthony, who are you taking for your first pick of round 5?
Okay, this one is controversial, but in hindsight, it makes sense. 2010's winner, The Miz.
Dang it.
Because
you guys are the worst. both of my next pick.
But when you look at the Miz's career, that was his first major big break into the world title scene, and he did the unthinkable and beat Cena in the main event of a Mania. Successfully retained against Cena in a Mania, which is, I believe, he's probably the only one, or if he was the first, if there is anybody else on that. But yeah, I have to go Miz.
An excellent pick, and one which is often overlooked. I mean, that one is, again, it's another one where it elevated somebody into a main eventer, even if it wasn't, even if it was just for a short while. Nobody, and I mean nobody, really believed Miz was going to become WWE champion. I mean, he was like a tag star pretty much at that point. Like, that was, mid-card tag star, and he did it. He did it. WrestleMania, John Cena match as well. Just absolute insanity. I mean, looking back on it, I mean, Miz is somebody who, he's never been technically the best in the ring, right? And he's never been necessarily the most entertaining, wrestler out there. But what he always has been is consistently good and just reliable. Which is funny, because his entire reputation at the start was that he was unreliable.
He couldn't even get the phone number right. He had it on his hand for the Divas. Yeah. It's true.
It is true, but he proved himself.
Yeah. He kicked out of the locker room.
His resilience is off the charts impressive. That is something that you cannot take away from that guy.
Yep.
There's no doubt about it. Is it my pick?
Yes, it is.
Well, it is, but right before we get on that, I've got one last point to say about it. I think I'm going to be honest with you, there's so many wrestlers doing podcasts these days, right? Where, there's not too many wrestlers where I'd be like, I'd love for them to have their own podcast. The Miz is one of them.
Oh, yes.
I'd love to get more of an insight into that guy's mind when it comes to professional wrestling, because he knows something. He understands something. And he's stayed on the top, for so long by doing so little in terms of it, in the ring. Yet he stays relevant and he stays entertaining.
Yeah, no.
It's a skill.
His consistency is off the charts. I mean, honestly, even like the success of the reality show, all the side quests, all the side stuff that he does. It is impressive. It's mind-blowing how far he's come since we saw him debut in the way too long of jean shorts.
I feel like as a whole, like his career when it's done will be more appreciated than it was in the moment
Yeah.
Yes.
at that time. Like
Certainly.
long term, like one of the most reliable performers there's been.
Yeah, there's no way I can argue with that. But Clark, who are you taking in the 5th round?
Okay, so you guys took all my picks, which made things tough. But I want Sheamus, 2015.
Ooh, very nice.
Give me Sheamus, a slugger. Also, cashes in on who? Get the ones up? The tribal chief, Roman Reigns?
Mm.
Okay, we'll take it. Not the tribal chief at the time. This was more of the yard dog, or what were we calling him? I'm totally kidding. I'm sorry. 2015 was like, to me, one of the worst years of professional wrestling of all time. It was
One
my
of the
lapsed
worst,
years.
followed by one of the best.
I call it the dark ages, specifically, but this was the light amongst the dark ages. And absolutely, I got to give Sheamus some credit. It's a sweet cash in, and it made a lot of sense because the last thing we wanted was the big dog yard guy, the yardigans. We didn't want any more yards. We're done with the yard work.
Nobody likes yard work. I mean, that is one of those cash-ins where at the time, everybody hated it, right? Because everyone knew what was going to happen. Everybody called it. They said, oh, Sheamus is just going to win because they're trying to make us feel something for Roman. We don't want to feel something for Roman. Roman's just going to win it back. Guess what happened? Roman won it back. Then they tried to do the same thing again, then with Triple H, when Roman Reigns put the title on the line at the Rumble. It was disaster. It was poor booking. The fans were not falling for it. They tried to do something, and it failed. But in hindsight, I think everybody remembers that Sheamus cash-in a lot more fondly than when it actually happened.
They do. That's why I picked it. I'm laughing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I would pick nothing else from that time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If it's a different draft, except for that moment, because everyone remembers it. It was like, oh, Sheamus cashed in, and it made sense, and it worked, and it was like, it was actually really good. And so he's on the squad, and Sheamus deserves his flowers for that. 100%. Because if you think about it now, the idea of Sheamus cashing in on Roman seems like, what are we suggesting? Like, no. No one's doing that. Not today.
Not today, not tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, 2015 was a not very good time in professional wrestling. There was a lot of injuries towards the end of that year. 2016, it started off slowly, but it picked up. And
until
I said
we
it
didn't
before, and I'll
want
say
none
it again.
In 2016.
But no, but 2016, in my opinion, like genuinely, once it started to get going, WrestleMania season, despite the fact that WrestleMania 32 wasn't great, I thought the build-up to it was as good as it could have been, with, you know, all the obstacles they had. But especially after WrestleMania, that is 100% one of my favorite years in recent WWE history. My favorite year, I actually think, since 2023. Between then and before 2023, my favorite year was 2016 in recent times. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, I guess that started that. So we now remember it a lot more fondly than we did at the time. But Coby, it is now on to you for your 5th pick, 5th round. Who are you taking?
And so the one thing that comes to mind is someone that was still an innovator with this concept. And I think this concept was always built on you're going to get a guaranteed shot later on down the line, and you could hold this for whenever you wanted. This man was the first one to cash in the same night. And that was Kane 2010. Kane cashed in on the same night on Rey Mysterio. Yes, it's not necessarily the most memorable match, not memorable moment, but it's the first Money in the Bank pay-per-view, because Money in the Bank originally was always on WrestleMania, and this was the first pay-per-view where they did it one Raw, one SmackDown. Of course, Miz and Kane were the two winners. Kane cashed in on the same night on Rey Mysterio. It's the first Money in the Bank pay-per-view. It's the first same night cash in, and I think it's kind of a moment because we see a lot of those same night cash ins throughout history. We saw, like you said, Dean Ambrose. We saw a lot in the women's division. I think that since this is the first, I can sit here and say it is a strong pick. So, okay.
Yeah. No, it certainly is. I remember, and I'm going to be honest, Kobe, that was going to be my next pick as well, so I am gutted that you took that. But that is one of those picks, right, where I remember, as a kid when this happened, I was heartbroken. I hated Kane. I was like, Rey Mysterio, he is my hero. And Kane, you just cheated basically to beat him. You cashed in, you didn't challenge him one-on-one. And guess what, right? Because I didn't even watch the pay-per-views back then. I used to check the results on my iPod the next morning, right? So I saw the headline on WWE.com, Kane is the World Heavyweight Champion. And I was thinking to myself, what? How? Who? When? What? I did not understand it. And then obviously I found out Kane won Money in the Bank. It was all confusing to me, and I hated it. But Kane ultimately did his job, because I was, a fan, and I hated him, and he was a heel, and it was unexpected. So it did a good job there. But Kobe, who are you taking? 6th round, first pick of the 6th round.
Two in mind that I'm looking at right now, and because I got all the winners written down. There's one I'm still hesitant to pick, and there's one I kind of already talked crap on earlier. As of right now, I think I got to talk about the entire moment. And SummerSlam 2011 is one of the peaks, and we talk about Summer of Punk, and we talk about how he had that moment of Money in the Bank 2011, and he got to kiss the fans goodbye. And then they did this whole real champion versus not interim champion type storyline with Cena and CM Punk. CM Punk wins. I think there's just it's a moment to say Kevin Nash had a 2011 run, and that did start. He had the Rumble appearance, but that did start against CM Punk, where he was attacking CM Punk. And then Alberto Del Rio. And I think this is one of the, if I have to look back on Del Rio's career, it's I guess a fond memory. It's this guy was kind of, it's one of them. This guy was at his peak in 2011 when he had the cash in, when he could be the world champion in a not a division, but in the main event scene that had CM Punk and John Cena, and he had wins over both of them. Yes, it's a kind of it's a shit reign, it's a shit person, and I'm looking back at Alberto Del Rio, and it's still a memorable cash in because of just that point in time. He did it in the quote unquote Summer of Punk. So I gotta go with Del Rio.
A very, very solid choice indeed. I mean, the thing about it is, I just never bought Del Rio as a main event star, personally.
No,
right?
No, not at all.
I do agree with you. At the time, it was a shock. It was, is this guy genuinely going to be the next big thing?
Personal announcer was pretty dope, but outside of that, no. Yeah, it was whack.
He stole JBL's entry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he literally was just...
The cars. No, that was fun. We all liked that.
But no, he really was like they were just trying to.
They were trying that last.
They were trying something.
They were trying to push him. Never worked successfully, but it's.
I mean, we all know because they literally said it that with Del Rio they were trying to appeal more to the Mexican audience because obviously Rey Mysterio was starting to get on a bit. And I think their thought was, well, JBL's gone now. We need somebody to be, a big heel like JBL. And we need a new Mexican star. So let's try and do them both in one. And out comes Alberto Del Rio. And I think...
Del Rio essentially was JBL, the love child of JBL and the $1 Million Man. Just Mexican. That's essentially what the gimmick was.
Honestly, when you said New Mexican star, all I could think was like they got a guy from New Mexico, which is not what Alberto Del Rio is from. He's from
that'd be Dude Love.
Mexico.
That would be Dude Love. Consequences, New Mexico.
That is a state.
I think Walter White was quite a big star back then.
Yeah, he was big.
That wasn't New Mexico.
He's big.
No, never mind.
No, that's New Mexico.
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Which is in
I was
New
not
Mexico.
even American, and I was right.
All right, I'm down.
It's definitely not Old Mexico. I know that.
You mean the real one?
Yeah, regular Mexico.
Well, you know, I'm not too far away from Old York right now.
There you go.
Clark.
Been to New
Not
York.
not New York, Old York, the regular
Totally
York.
different places.
Yeah, very, very, very
The
different
Little
places.
Apple, is that what you guys call Old York?
Do you know, right? Not
Is it
even
big on New
joking.
Year's?
Not even joking, right? In Swansea, where I'm from, right, there's this place in Mumbles. It's a hill. You go up to this big hill, and there's just like it's like a little ice cream shop, but the ice cream shop is in the shape of an apple, and it's called the Big Apple, and everybody's like, "Oh, are you going to the Big Apple?"
Yeah.
And it was like such a big thing in Swansea. I mean,
Good ice cream or no? Can you confirm?
I said ice cream. I don't even think it was ice cream. I think it was like you got like
Desserts or
sweet
Oh, so
something
you just
stuff in
made
there.
it up then?
It's like an Apple store. Are
No,
you just
it was
spitballing, Ben?
No,
Okay.
no. It's one of those places where you can get like drinks, sweets. Like I don't know what
Oh, I
to
like
describe it
It's
as.
like a dessert
Alright,
shop. I get
Yeah,
it.
okay, gotcha.
I get it.
Yeah,
Don't worry about Anthony. I
dessert
get it.
stand,
Yeah, we got
dessert
it.
shop. I don't know, right? But unfortunately, I don't think it's open anymore. I think the pandemic killed it. But anyway, moving on.
Nice
Moving
segue.
on. Perfect segue. Talking about even I can't link that well. Clark, who are you taking for round 6?
Oh, this is a no-brainer. I'm going to cause some controversy because I've only got so much time left to do so. I'm going to take Asuka, cashing in and telling Becky Lynch that she's a mother. Does that count?
I mean, it does
That
technically
that
count.
counts.
It's like a reverse cash in, right? Kind of.
Yeah, I guess you never can. I guess you won it and cashed in the same minute, did she? Like, I mean, I don't
No,
even
it was
know.
the next
No,
night.
it was the next. It was on
The
Raw.
next night.
Yeah, I
the next
know,
night,
but I
she-
mean,
That-
technically speaking,
That was going to be mine.
It was really
But
more about
Becky said to her, "You already are the champion, I believe." Because it's in your
No, she
briefcase.
said
Yeah, no,
open
the
up the
belt was in the
briefcase.
case.
The belt
Yeah,
was
I
in the
know,
case.
I know.
But that counts as a cash in, right? That's a win.
Yes, it does.
By forfeit.
No, it does.
does.
It must count. It does.
She
count.
won,
I'm
so
trying
it
to work
counts.
out
Via forfeit.
When the
Becky Lynch defeated
Essentially-
by pregnancy. Sorry. Don't.
Essentially, the briefcase was vacant.
In the reviews,
It's a
Kobe,
line
remember
count.
when you review the match,
Yes.
Asuka by pinfall via pregnancy.
Yeah, pregnant.
And that's how we got canceled.
I'm sorry. No, we didn't. That's a joke. That's a funny joke. There was nothing mean about that.
Clark got cancelled. Anyway,
It was a beautiful
Great.
moment, and Becky and Seth have a great child, and Asuka was a great champion. That's why I
that
picked her.
child is gonna be a hell of a wrestler. Seriously, if they want to become
Well,
a
they got the
wrestler,
jeans.
Whew.
You know, there's... and the
industry's not
wardrobe.
ready
And the
for them.
wardrobe.
Oh, the outfits I think might just be too much, right? That might just send everything over the edge.
The
But
kid is going to totally have tailored jeans. Tailored jeans. Well fitting.
Could you picture if they want to punish her and they take her to school in their garb, because either one of them could completely devastate that child.
Yeah, think about the fashion industry.
Yes.
It's going to be rocked.
Yes.
oh gosh, Anthony, who are you taking as your last pick?
All right, since Clark took Asuka from me, I'm going to take the first technically failed cash-in, which was John Cena in 2012. Because technically he won the match, but it was by DQ, but he didn't win the title.
Yeah.
It's the first unsuccessful cash-in, so I'm going to go with Cena as my final pick.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, that is a wild pick. Somebody who failed to cash in, but
I mean, listen, what's left there, it's like,
there's still one very good one left. Well, not very good one. I think very good one.
A good
right?
enough one.
Yeah.
There's two, actually. I've got two on my radar. But that's neither here
Oh,
nor there.
okay. I only have one, but this one is... It's partly made because of Pat McAfee and his reaction. Pat McAfee's reaction during this was insane. But it was like a crowning moment. It was the crowd just loved it too. They were on fire for it. It was one of the loudest crowd reactions we've had for a cash-in. You deserve it, chance. All of that. Even if the reign did end up being absolutely rubbish. But this is Liv Morgan cashing in on Ronda Rousey. An underrated one. I'll go to bat for it. Even if the reign ended up rubbish. It was fun. The crowd loved it. And Pat McAfee stole the show.
I think it's a great pick.
Even
Actually,
Michael Cole just
underratedly
took
good
2
pick too.
hours.
It's an underratedly good pick because honestly, McAfee sold the heck out of that one.
Yeah.
And Liv, it's not about the reign, it's about the cash in. We're talking about the moment anyway.
Exactly.
And that's what you drafted. So it makes the most sense. Oh my gosh, did you see Shad's comment here? I gotta show it. Liv Morgan needs to cash in on Dom's heart.
Oh.
Got
If
him.
only we had the clip of Chaos saying that she's for the streets. Just be non-biased.
You're really trying to cancel us, aren't you, Ben?
No, I was quoting Chaos.
Oh, quoting
I was
chaos.
quoting Chaos. I'm
have
just
been
trying to be a
nothing short of
non-biased
polite.
politician, right?
We've definitely been polite during this show.
Very, very.
Nothing
But
cancelable.
Actually,
all
yeah,
se-
you have been polite because you could have gave me Braun Strowman's Money in the Bank run.
well,
Or,
Mark
I
76
was gonna
did
give you a
want us to.
Sandow.
Listen, somebody
Or
suggested.
Sandow.
Mark
Somebody suggested
76
that.
wanted us to. Yeah.
Yes.
Or
we
Baron
were-
Corbin. Or Baron Corbin.
Y-
By the way,
you
Mark
would,
76 is Kobe's buddy.
Kobe, honestly, you
Threw
would have
Kobe
gotten,
right under the
Throwing
bus.
his own friend under the bus.
Kobe, you would have gotten all these people if you didn't show up.
I wonder what the Instagram comments are gonna be like reacting to Kobe's first.
His first pick being
I
Austin
already
Theory.
got my mistake. I already got my excuse loaded in
You
my
got
mind.
your excuse.
for what I just
Oh,
said.
God.
He's gonna go into defense mode. He's got a whole campaign lined up.
Here's my doctor's note.
I'm
saying
not
why
gonna
I
be
missed
the
first two
most-
picks.
So wait, no one
I'm
took
not
Jack
gonna be the
Swagger?
most hated one on the page.
Swagger,
Renee.
Sandow.
No one took Swagger. No one took Brian.
No one took
2011.
Bailey.
If we had picks
No
left,
one
I was
took
gonna take
Bailey.
Swagger.
Nobody took Miz
No, Brian
Miz
got
/
taken, didn't he?
Otis.
Wow.
No.
No one.
Don't-
Well,
Surely Brian
no.
got taken.
That you mean second Miz?
Miz
If
/
it was
Otis.
those
No
two,
one
yeah.
took the second Miz. I'm just
Yeah, Miz 2.
Yeah,
took
I
that?
got
I
nobody
swear
had that.
Brian got taken at some point. Anyway,
I don't think he did.
but
Brian
then
didn't.
the-
I
The
don't
graphic-
blame that one because it was garbage and they on a SmackDown he cashed in and they were like, no, your guy wasn't cleared, so no, you get the briefcase back.
And that
You
brings
don't
us
get
to
the
the
world
end of the show,
title.
Cobb.
That's the end of the show. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back tomorrow, same time, same place to talk about AEW Forbidden Door. Tomorrow morning, Allison analysis about Forbidden Door. Also, Wrestling Republic news. All of that and more. Keep it here on the Wrestling Republic YouTube channel. Thank you to Anthony, Kobe, and Clark for joining me here today, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.